Hello, this is Andrea from OurDayDream, and today we have two awesome guests. We have Austin and Leb, which are comedians. We speak about their career, but also human trafficking. So without further ado, here they are.
Hello, can you see me?
Yes, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, just getting everything settled in.
There we go.
There it is. It's the only place I know to be at right now. Mosers!
What's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy. I'm sitting in California right now.
I see that. Looks nice.
Yep. Thank you.
Looks nice.
So I watched you guys' comedy act. It was hilarious.
Well, thank you.
I forget where it was that the comedy act was located, but I did search one time for Christian comedy. I was in a super cranky mood, and I thought, well, if I could find some Christian comedy acts, maybe it would get me out of it. But I couldn't find any that was funny, and it was really awesome to be introduced to you guys.
Well, thank you.
Hey, that's a ringing endorsement. Like,
yeah, we'll take that endorsement.
No other Christian comedians are funny except for Austin and Leb. That's our new tagline. That's our new tagline.
Put that on our website.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I really love stories behind people that are doing awesome things in the Christian world. So can you guys tell me, like, separately, like, your testimony?
Mosers, I'll let you start this so I can mute it so I can get these people out of the hallway.
Okay. Look at that boy multitasking. He's not even good at one task. Anyway, so yeah, I'll kind of take it way back here and try not to get too wordy, but way back when Leb and myself, when we really first met, we've known each other our whole lives. We both went to the same church growing up, but when I was 18 years old, just had started college kind of on my own for the first time, really wasn't all that interested in church at that time, as many 18-year-olds are, especially getting out on their own for the first time. I really got brought back into it by the new youth pastor at our church, which just happened to be Leb. He came in and kind of revamped, and I'll brag on him while he's not here. And deny it if you tell him I did, but he kind of revamped a dead youth group. There was nothing happening, and he came in and kind of revamped things, and he got it going by getting us all involved in a drama team. Right, we would practice these different praise dances, dramas. We would go to different churches. We would perform them. We kind of traveled all over the Southeast doing that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great, and that kind of led to me and Leb, developing a friendship. So as time went on, fast forward a few years, I'm now divorced. Had kind of fallen away from the church a little bit myself, and had just been praying to God to give me. To give me something to do. I feel like as Christians, we get really complacent by not knowing really where our place is, not just on this whole earth, but just within the church. God, what's my purpose? What do you have for me to do? Well, that led me straight back to the church that Leb was pastoring, and he asked me to kind of head up the youth at that church that he was the pastor of. So, we worked for a couple of years kind of hand in hand. He was the senior pastor or associate pastor. I was kind of handling the youth. And we started putting together these fun little silly skits for our Christmas programs every year, right? We would put together these. Still, like, the first one we ever did was an interpretive dance that we made up to the 12 Days of Christmas, and and all of a sudden, and we did a few other, like, we would have the play going, but then when they were needing to switch scenes, instead of there being like dead air, me and Leb would come up and do something funny, and all of a sudden I guess word started getting out, and other churches during Christmas time be like, "Hey, can you guys come to our church and do this bit that we saw of you guys?" Because people would post it on the internet, check
Yeah.
out Austin and Leb. And they would say, "Can you come to our church and do that?" It was so funny, and so as we started getting invited, we started thinking, what we could, it would be a fun fundraiser. This was never something that we meant to just be doing,
Yeah.
but it is crazy how God works. We said, it would be a fun little fundraiser if we put together like a little hour-long sketch comedy show, and find a big church that would host it, and we can raise money. We were trying to build a separate building at the church we were attending at the time, and we thought it'd be a good way to raise funds. So we put it together, and it just went over so well. We actually filled that place. It was full. It was at capacity. They couldn't have any more
That's
people in there.
awesome.
Yeah, and it just went over so well. So we just said, you know what, this is a different kind of ministry, but here we are. God's given us a talent, and it's something that's fun and something that we love, and it's a way. It's a ministry that nobody else is really doing, and we always tried to keep it ministry minded. That our ministry was to bring laughter and to bring joy to God's people, to fill a void that maybe wasn't being met at the time. That we could travel around and just bring a little laughter, bring a little joy, bring a little fun to God's people, and always in the name of Jesus with everything that we do. And that, of course, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, led to an even deeper ministry within our community with Destiny Rescue, the charity organization that we're with. So that was my long-winded build up, Leb. I
That
don't
was
know
your
if you got,
7-minute sermon. Good job. Youth pastor.
I don't preach
He's
short
supposed to be.
sermons.
He's supposed to be like the one that doesn't preach as long. I think it's opposite. Since I'm a senior pastor, he
Yeah.
preaches way longer than I do.
Well,
But
people have gotten tired of hearing you. That's all it
that's
is.
true. You're very correct in that, sir, and I appreciate your insight and your thought to that.
Thank you.
By the way, nice hair. But
Thank you.
so my testimony is I've been raised in church my whole life. My dad was a pastor, mom choir director, and just that's all I've ever known. And so I was a runner. I didn't want to be around it. I tried to choose a different path. Like Austin had said, he had went through a divorce as well, and so had I. And and now we're both, we both have wives who are Christian oriented and
That's
who
awesome.
really support us. And see, Austin didn't even get to tell you the good part about his life, is now he has a little bitty baby and they just had their first
Dude.
baby. She's about 7 months old now, right? That Mo?
7 months old now. Yeah.
Congrats.
And
Thank you.
I'm blessed with 2 kids and 2 grandkids, and I never wanted to be a preacher. I never wanted to be that. Never set in and said, "Ooh, I want to be a preacher. I want to go through all the problems that preachers go through." Nobody understands what a pastor goes through. And then you put on top of that, and then they say, "Hey, he does comedy as well, so he must not be a serious preacher. He don't know how to reach folks." So there's always something negative, regardless of what you choose to do in life.
Right.
One of my greatest times was when Austin was a part of my youth group. So that tells you that I'm way more seasoned than he is. As you can tell, it's a gray beard, and I'm
He's an
sitting
old
on top
man.
of the bridge
Yeah.
here. Don't worry, I'm not gonna jump. I don't have I got bad knees. I'm not jumping much anymore. But no, that kind of was the start of my ministry, was seeing these teenagers and these young adults grow, and kind of as I grew as a minister. And so taught me a lot, taught me how to pray a lot, just a lot of different things. And as Austin said, as our ministry has now went to a whole nother level with this comedy, because me and him never thought that we just did a couple Facebook videos, and they kind of went like, people was viewing 2,000 and 3,000 views, and we're like, oh, cool. So we'll put on a show. And like he said, with that show, we did it as a fundraiser. And actually, Though, if you remember that fundraiser, it's been almost 5 years ago. That fundraiser was going to help like support like this youth rally we were going to do.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
and so that youth rally was going to be like that was going to be support a lot of that money. But then we started getting, I mean, we actually had an agent at our first show. We did everything backwards. Like we got merchandise first, and we started selling merchandise before we ever had the first show.
We had
so
merchandise before we ever did a show. Yeah, that's not the way
so
it's supposed to go.
No, that was so backwards. And so it's just been it's been a whirlwind, but it's been a good thing because as me and him had talked about it, you know, we prayed before this ever happened, and we were doing shows like before we started, but we prayed that if this was supposed to happen, that God would have his hand in it and let us know that, hey, you need to keep doing comedy, or you guys just work a lot and don't worry about comedy. And so I mean, we drove one time to Virginia Beach, drove there, did a show. How many people was there, Austin? Maybe 30?
30, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the first time they'd seen us, and they had never heard about us. So they gave us a like offering. And
there's a difference
they
between a
liked us
like
so
offer and a
much.
love offer.
Yeah. But good people. We actually went back, and it was a lot better. But what I'm saying is that it was like a test to see if we were going to stay with it.
Yeah.
So we drove all the way there, 7 hours, made hardly any money at all. I mean, enough to put back in the gas tank and for me to get some Taco Bell. And then Austin had to pay his own because, you know,
Yeah.
we gotta feed the old guy. And then
That's right.
drove 7 hours straight back. We got home like 4 a.m. So
yeah.
Do you feel like it's one of those things where if God has his hands on it and he wants you to do something, it's something that you just can't shake off no matter what it looks like? It's like a burning within inside of you. Like you guys are driving back from Virginia Beach, you know, was there thoughts in your mind about quitting, or
You know,
no?
I'll say this. I have since the day we've started this, it's never crossed my mind to quit. And I think that speaks a lot to are you doing something for you, or are you doing something for God? Right.
Yeah.
When we first started, again, like you said, you know, we we didn't have a big list of bookings and, you know, a bunch of followers, or even really much of a plan, but we knew that we felt pressed to do this, and we didn't want to make a career out of it. We didn't want to get rich off of it. We didn't want to do anything like that. We just felt pressed to use the ability that God had given us for him. Had we just been doing it for our own, you know, our own selfish desires or wants, then yeah, there's probably some times early on that we would have both looked at each other and said, nah, let's just call it a day. This isn't worth our time, you know. But I think that doing something for God too, I'll say that shows itself in the results. As Leb said, we're coming up on the 5-year anniversary of our first show, and we've done in those 5 years almost 4.5 at this point. We've probably done what, Leb, close to 300 shows.
Yeah, a little bit right at 300, a little over. Yeah.
But to speak to that, one of the first pieces of advice that we ever got early on from a fellow comedian was that it takes 5 years in the comedy game to really get going.
Yeah.
We're not even at 5 years yet, and we're already at or around 300 shows. So that just shows to me that we persevered through the hard times, and that God has been in it from the beginning, and we'll keep doing it until God tells us to stop. Right? Because first of all, it's for him, it's for his people, it's for Destiny Rescue, and also too, we'll be honest, we love it. This is fun. This is fun. And
it's good when you get to work with your best friend too. Like, I mean, Austin's my best friend. So not only just comedy, but like we'll go down the road. For a long time, we would go down the road writing. That's how we would write our comedy bits. But now we go down the road and we're talking like, you know, hey, I've got this thing. Can you help me with my sermon right here? You know, so it's not about comedy all the time, but it's more about, you know, it has turned into ministry all the time. And you could say, man, that's so boring, but not really. I mean, because
not at all.
The comedy part is ministry, and you start talking about that, and then you start talking about how you can help people at your church, and how we make sure that we keep our wives happy, to you know, that we're not booking all the time like we did before.
Yeah.
But because I think now that we've reached that 5-year mark, we don't have to, I mean, and it's not a knock or anything, it's just we can be selective about our bookings now. But in that selection, we love small churches as well. Because I think a lot of times when you do things and it becomes like like a career wise, like, you know, you sometimes tend to not want to go to those small churches because they might only have 20 or 30 people there. But I'm gonna be honest with you, that's been some of our best shows, is when they're like 30 or 40 there. And those people just, and they're busting out laughing, and you're having such a great time. And there's memories that we have of so many, but I think that's a part of our ministry too. It's not always about like having 400 and 500 people at your show, because I mean, let's be honest, Mo, we performed in front of 10,000 one time. Now only about 100 of them was paying attention, but there was
10,000 were there.
Yeah. So I'd rather have 30 paying attention the whole time than, you know. So, and I got to quit saying, you know, because I've been at school all day, and that's what I say all the time. You know, you're not doing good today. But
so tell me about Destiny Rescue.
Yeah, so Destiny Rescue, and I'll let Leb speak a little bit more to this, because it really it was certainly a God thing, as we like to call it. It was a God thing. You know, we were kind of hitting that like 2 to 3 year mark into this, and things were really picking up for us. We were getting a lot of booking requests, and you know, the just the amount of people we were getting in front of was growing exponentially. And
good word.
Just as, thank you. I thought it was sounding smart. I gotta keep using big words. I moved to Alabama, and if I can't lose any more brain cells.
I know.
But, yeah, you know.
Prayer.
But
Go ahead, bro.
you know, we had prayed for God, you know, as He saw fit to, you know, expand our ministry. You know, we started off with, this is always going to be ministry, and it's in the beginning it was just about bringing laughter and joy to God's people. But as it began to grow, just like with anything that you do in life, and especially for God, it's like, okay, how can I do more with what you've given me? How can I be more of a servant to you? And you know, lo and behold, as we started praying about these things, as we really started thinking about these things, Leb runs into a representative from Destiny Rescue, and you know, it was, I'll let you tell the Destiny story there, but yeah, now here we are. We've been with them for a couple of years now, but what they do, for anybody listening that doesn't know, is they are overseas, and they have one mission and one mission only, and that is freeing children out of sex trafficking. Sex trafficking of minors is the number one grossing illegal industry in the entire world, and there's not a close second. It's one of those things here in America, it's a little out of sight, out of mind, right? It's such an egregious thing that our pampered sheltered American selves can't even fathom that happens, let alone the extent to which it happens. It's a $1 billion industry every single year. Millions of children getting kidnapped or tricked into becoming sex workers. And Destiny Rescue, what they do, and Leb will go into more detail, I'm sure, but they they hire operatives, former military, even just civilians who have the skill set and want to step in, and they run sting operations overseas to go find these children, to go save these children and to get them out of there. But the great, if that was all they did, that would be plenty enough. But they also, if these kids don't have a safe home to go back to, they shelter them and feed them. If they're of school age, they'll put them through school. If they're more of working age, they'll put them in job training. They'll make sure they have jobs. And most importantly is they teach them about Jesus when they have them, right? They're there to save them physically, but then save them spiritually afterwards. So the job's not done. Yeah, absolutely. But Leb, if you want to share the Destiny story, I think that would be a good one.
So as Austin was saying, I was walking around Winter Jam with my young folks in Knoxville, and I come across the table, I get the card from the guy, and I'm a year later, I pick up the phone and I'm like, I'm in Florida. This guy's in Florida. So I just call him and I said, hey, you remember me? We just talked a little bit. So we decided to go play golf. We're on a golf course, and his name is Tom Cochran, really great guy. And me and Tom is talking, and he tells me about Destiny Rescue. And I said, well, like anything, I'd like to pray about any decisions that we decide to do, because it's not just a me thing or an Austin thing. It's definitely got to be a God thing. And our first show that we go to here in Knoxville, we talk about it. We're going to be ambassadors, hopefully, for it, and trying to see how everything's going to go. And we start giving just a little bit of information about, what Austin had just said. And at the very end of the night, because we were praying for a sign, just God, give us something that to know it's you and not us. And so that night, at the very end of it, the pastor brings this girl, she's probably about 15 at that time, up to us, and he said, tell him your name, or tell him what happened. And she was a child who'd been rescued here in the States. And I said, wow, that's crazy. And they said, no, now tell him the real part. And the real thing is her name is Destiny. And so that was like a God thing that says Destiny Rescue. So
Right.
Yeah, it was very abundantly clear at that point that God was giving us the green light. But it's been a beautiful partnership. We were their initial artists on their platform, and just talking about how God works. The first thing, and I don't know if we're even supposed to share this. I don't think they care. We share it at our shows. The people that Tom Cochran worked with, were when he said, yeah, we're going to sign Austin and Leb to be our featured artist.
Yeah.
They was the people, that he reports to or whatever were like, I don't know about comedians. I don't know if that's a good idea. Like, this is a pretty serious topic, and
you gotta think, going from comedy to going to serious, that's
yeah,
tough.
it's a transition now, and
yeah,
in our shows,
True,
yeah, in our shows, that's exactly how we do it. We get up on stage. We usually do hour long shows, and we go through our whole show. Everybody's laughing, everybody's having a good time, and then there towards the end, we have to shift gears to talk about Destiny Rescue. And I'll tell you, talking about praying, that's one thing early on. I begged the Lord, please, Lord, help me transition into all this stupidity that I've just done, all the foolishness I've just done here, and transition into getting into people's hearts and minds about this serious issue. But it's never been an issue. It's never been an issue. And now that I think the people at Destiny Rescue actually love us. We've had a lot of success as far as our conversion rates and getting rescue partners. That's what we do. We make the people at our show aware of what Destiny Rescue is and what they do, and then we pray with them, because that is how, again, it's a nonprofit, it's a charitable organization. They don't make money. They are funded by donors, and we give people the opportunity at the end of the night to sign up to donate a little bit of money each month that goes towards Destiny Rescue and keeping it alive. But we always, again, we transition straight from comedy, me doing something stupid, Leb doing something stupid, into that straight into prayer, because we want to always, we tell everybody, like, we're not asking you guys for money. What we're asking you to do is pray with us right now. And if God is telling you, yes, give $30 a month to this organization, then obey him. If he's not telling you that, then yeah, you might want to listen. Hey, my God knows a thing or two now, I promise.
Right.
But
I don't
but we
like
always
to
tell
avoid anything God tells me to do.
that's not worked well for me in the past. I probably have a few testimonies about ignoring what God told me to do. Yeah. But we always tell people too, if God is not putting it on your heart to do this, then he may have something else that he wants those funds to go to, or something else for you to do. And that's fine to obey that too. We're not asking you for money. We're going to pray, and we're asking you to ask God to give you a sign, to talk to your heart, to speak to you. And we always, that talking about the crowds, that I think that's what blows us away even more. Because again, we'll be somewhere one night where there's several hundred people, and then the next night we'll be at a small church that has 20 people there. And it's nothing for those small churches of those 20 people there, that 10 of them sign up to be rescue partners.
That's amazing.
Whereas, the night before at the 200, the place with 200, we also only got 10. But that just goes to show you the hearts of small town churches, right? Yeah. They're open, and they're listening to God, and it's amazing to watch them work.
Yeah. I think about too, dealing with past trauma and stuff like that, especially to the extent of somebody that's been through human trafficking, because I'd actually spoke to a young lady that had been through that in her past. And as somebody that didn't believe in Jesus, it kind of held her entrapped to that identity of that person that had endured all that. And I really do believe that, whenever you're born again through Jesus, what that's doing is it's making you victorious over all the things that happened to you bad in your past, rather than being that identity of the person that was hurt. So I think it's a beautiful thing that they're showing them their true identity in Christ along the way.
Well, and that's one thing about Destiny Rescue too, is, when a lot of times when we go in and we try to convince these young ladies that we are not predators, it normally takes 4 to 6 months for that to even happen. But then to teach them about Jesus, and that there is freedom, and that what had them bound down and what was hurting them was not Jesus. Right. And so, it's a tough thing to understand all of that. But I believe, just like we always say, when that's kind of how we transition is how many people think that all kids deserve freedom? Right. And that's our biggest thing, is teaching those young ladies too that there is freedom, and none of us have to be a slave to sin. So Jesus set me free just like he did you. And it's, me and Austin could tell you stories about what we've been through in life and sit here all day, and I know you could too. And yeah. But the biggest thing is we've all been set free by the same one. And so that's really why I think the comedy portion of what we do with Destiny Rescue really helps, because the Bible says that laughter is like a good medicine. And then when you're open and you're free and you're sitting there, and then all of a sudden that there's people out there that can't laugh, and they can't even smile because of what they're in, but yet I can help them, because there's a lot of people that has prayed for me that has no clue who I am, but yet God heard their prayers. And so, and that's what me and Austin tell people all the time. There's a lot of people who don't know who you are or who they are, but that doesn't mean that what we can do tonight cannot further the cause of helping them know who Jesus is. So,
no doubt.
Right. I don't know. The Christian lifestyle is like you got to follow the straight and narrow. And I think oftentimes we forget about that. The kingdom also calls for us to be children of God. It's a point of acceptance, but also joy. And so you get into this place where it's like, oh, why did I do that? Or why did I think about that person that way? And it could be such a serious walk, but the joy and the laughter and things like that. That too is what's going to show people like Christianity is fun. It's not so prude. Like you can have fun, you can have joy and things like that. So I love that. I love your
because the
ministry.
Bible says that God created us in his image. And so he made me and this other goofy dude. So, he created us. And so if that's where we're at,
Yeah. And I mean, there's an age old, stigma on the church and on Christianity that it is,
age old,
that it is age old, that it's just like that life is just this stone-faced, serious, like, no, don't crack a smile, everything is super serious, and
smile.
and somebody that's afraid that can't smile and can't laugh, let me tell you, they don't know the same Jesus I know, because that freedom and that feeling that you're supposed to be able to feel as a Christian, it certainly doesn't make me want to sit there and stone face look like I just ate a whole lemon. It makes me want to smile.
Religion.
Yeah, lemon face religion. We don't subscribe to lemon face religion. No, we subscribe to good times. And we're as Christians, we're supposed to be the light of the world too. There's not much light in somebody that don't want to smile or enjoy themselves, right? We're supposed to, once we have been set free, we are free indeed. And if that's not a joyous occasion, then I don't know. But speaking on that, a lot, most of our 90% of our shows are in churches, and I couldn't tell you how many times, because of that same negative stigma, that preachers that want to bring us in are hesitant. They're like, I don't know about comedy, at the church, and eventually they let it happen, and then by the end of the night they're like, okay, when can we get you back? Because that was the most fun this congregation's ever had since I've been.
I got one of those calls last night, by the way.
No, did you? Nice.
I sure did.
But yeah, there, and I get it. There's a lot of there's a fear of the unknown, especially when it comes to church entertainment, right? There's a big fear of the unknown.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, we've never been asked to leave. We've never had anyone tell us, anything. Knock on wood. We've never had anybody really complain about us, to their pastor after the show is over. 99.9% of people that have, if we were to take surveys, has had a good time, and we're thankful for that.
Austin, and 99.9% of people really enjoy our shows.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I'm sure scientific data that just made up. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Preachers be lying.
Do you have a mission whenever you go into the church?
Well, that's.
Go ahead. You know the answer?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I think so. And if I'm wrong, she'll tell me, I'm sure. But we have two main objections when we walk into a church. Number one is to I think I can speak for both of us when I say our main objective when we show up is to fulfill what our calling is. And right now, I feel like our main calling is spreading the word about Destiny Rescue, right? And number two, or this could more be a 1A, 1B, is just coming in and bringing laughter to God's people. The third objective, which is kind of a hidden objective to every show we come into, is to be open to anything that God throws at us. We have walked into churches, and before the show's been asked to pray over people. Yeah. After the show, we've had people come up and ask us for prayer I can remember several occasions, but one in particular always stands out to me. A show where this woman came up to us after the show and was like, "You guys have no idea how much I've needed this. I've really been suffering from a lot of depression. I've not been able to smile, and I couldn't tell you how long. You know, I've had suicidal thoughts, and you guys have no idea how much like I haven't laughed this hard in a long time, and you guys have really lifted my spirits, and I'd like you guys to just continue to remember me when you pray, because I don't want to fall back into that. I feel good right now. I feel God's presence right now, and I don't want to fall back out of that. So you guys remember us when you pray, and stuff like that sticks with you. But it is being open to stuff like that, 'cause, not bashing anybody for anything they do, but there's a lot of comedians, clean comedians, Christian comedians out there that when they roll up, you really only see them on stage and maybe at their merchandise table afterwards. They're kind of show up before everybody gets there in their green room, come out when it's their time to come on stage, leave immediately after. We're not like that. We mingle. we're minglers.
I love that.
We are
Yeah,
minglers.
yeah, we're Christian minglers, not the website though. But sorry, Leb. But no, we kind of, and that's what it means to me to be open to what God has for you. If we go shut ourselves off in a room backstage before a show, then there may be somebody that we may be missing something that God wanted us to do or to say, or to witness to, or whatever it may be.
I love that.
So yeah, that's, I said the third
Good
hidden
answer, my
agenda.
friend.
Thank
I
you.
like the way you're so good. You did a
Just
good
in
job.
general. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I mean, you just really came through.
Yeah. I think I just wrote a Christian mingle joke too. That was good.
And you did. And I just had a fire alarm go off, but it wasn't real. So
You're probably fine. We'll pray about it.
hey, yeah, I'm good. I'm in my office right now, so
Well,
near the bridge. But
well, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it does. There was a scientific study, the smile experiment, where people actually went as far as put like mechanics inside their mouth to like fake them into smiling. And they said that it would like change their blood pressure, the heart rate, it changed their mood, it made them think clear and everything. And that wasn't even actively smiling because you want to, it's because your face just moved in that direction. So, I mean, it definitely is that comedy and laughing whenever you're having those crappy days could just change everything around.
that's
Yeah.
it.
And you never know who's having a bad day, right? So
Right.
being that light, being that smile, being that sense of humor everywhere you can go. You never know who's one smile away from a breakthrough. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Got you.
we try to bring it.
Right. So what's next for you guys?
Well, since I'm the booker of this here group,
He's my agent. You can talk to him.
I'm Austin's agent. I know it says Austin and Leb, but really it's just Austin, and I'm the booker, and I just get up on stage and smile at him the whole time and go, "You're such a good comedian." But no,
Yeah. He's my emotional support dog.
Yes, and I'm good too. But no, we just got done doing the warm up at the Huckabee show, and then last year we were blessed to be able to do about 10 to 12 shows at the Biblical Times Dinner Theater up here in Pigeon Forge, and we're working with them to try to possibly get about 16 dates this year. I'm still trying to. They've had some changeover, but still trying to get with them about how we can do that, because they did say that they wanted us back, which is a good thing. We've got something in Jackson in March. We're in Ohio in September, at the end of September. I just had a church from Kentucky call me last night, trying to get a hold of them. And so we've got we'll probably have about 30 to 40 dates again. That's about where we normally sit. But if the Biblical Times Dinner Theater is one of our great things that we love, because it's a different crowd every night. They do such a phenomenal job on their show, and it's people come and they're already coming there for a reason, and it's a good atmosphere. So plus it gives us a home base, and we love home base.
Yes, we do. Yeah, but definitely, I think we're still
we're always looking.
The date book is still open, so we are definitely still taking bookings, still trying to fill those last few dates. So.
Yes.
I think you guys would make an incredible movie too, by the way. You have awesome testimonies, both going from divorce to remarried to, your comedy and all that. So I bet for you guys to look into that.
Hey, I think that's a good idea.
PureFlix movie.
Yeah, you get on PureFlix. Yeah, we need to go ahead and reach out to
that.
There we go. We'll just
stay open to the call.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There we go. We'll just have to Google how to write a screenplay, and we'll get that together. We should be fine.
Well, we've got this good booker friend named Nathan. I think he'll come through with us on some things this year. So
yeah, that would be, we've been, if you've probably even forgot about this, Leb, but we had a friend, a fellow comic. I don't know if he's even doing comedy anymore, but he had pitched to us about doing that he wanted to put together a sketch comedy show with us as writers and actors in it, and he was going to pitch it to PureFlix.
Doing comedy.
Yeah, that was in our first year. So I think that
comedy anymore.
I didn't think he did, but so needless to say, that fell through. That would have been a lot of fun, but whatever. Like we keep saying, I know we're a broken record, but for a good cause, whatever God has on the table for our future, whether it's just continuing down this same exact path of just our 30 to 40 shows a year, or if it branches out into something bigger or something smaller, whatever it is, we'll be open, and we'll be ready to go.
I love that. How do we find you?
How do they find us? So you can go to austinlebpresents.com. You can go on Facebook and look up Austin Leb Presents. It's got our telephone number on there to call and book us. Instagram. We don't do too much tweeting, so Twitter's not a good option. But,
we're there.
We're there. I would
TikTok
say Facebook
as well.
And our website and Instagram is the best 3 ways to get a hold of us.
Absolutely.
So about 90% of our bookings come through Facebook, so people have seen what we did. Like we just posted our Huckabee show, and that's gotten close to 500 views already, because I posted it twice and didn't mean to, but it is what it is.
It's a good way to get more views.
Yeah, it's getting the views. So
we tricked the people. Oh, is this another one? Nope, same one again.
Same one. Aha, we tricked you. But no, we so there's a lot of good things going on with that. Thank you for having us on here today.
Yeah, thank you for joining me, and prayers for you guys and your travels and your safety, and that you continue to bring people the smiles they need to get them through their hard times. So
thank you. Yes.
Keep
us in your prayers. And again, we appreciate you having us on. This was a good time.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
God bless. Bye-bye.
God bless. If you like this podcast, please hit subscribe, because we have an awesome guest coming up every week, and I don't want you to miss out. God bless. See you next time. Bye.